Carolyn Dube here. Today I'm sharing with you 5 very important bits of wisdom that I've picked up over my time playing in my art studio. Now, these bits of wisdom were hard-earned, incredibly difficult lessons for me, and quite frankly, I don't think I've actually mastered these pieces of wisdom. Actually, I'm really sure of that because my actions say I don't have a grasp on these at all. So I might know them in my head, but my daily practice seems to show I have no understanding of these bits of wisdom. Well, what are these bits of wisdom? Well, the first thing involves a paintbrush. These things. Did you know with these, if you put acrylic paint on them and leave them out for hours on end, when you come back, it is impossible to get the paint back out of them? Even if you soak them and do all sorts of different things to them, it's really not the same brush that it was before. So it turns out with these kinds of brushes, which would be called any brush, after you put paint on them, when you're done, you should put them in some kind of water or cleaning agent. This little bit of wisdom that I've learned, I know it in my head, but clearly based on my actions and the number of brushes that get left out, forgotten about, and turned to crusty driedness, I don't have a full grasp on this concept yet. Another bit of wisdom that I found is that when you buy an art supply, they put a lid on it for a reason. And that is to keep what's in it from coming outside of it uncontrollably. When I'm using something like ink, and I unscrew it, it's got a little dropper in it, I use my ink, and then I just rest the cap on top, because I know I'll remember that that cap isn't on all the way. Well, yeah, this is what happens. I pick it up by the lid and spill it. I knock it over and it spills. So the bit of wisdom that I have here for you is when you're finished removing whatever you need from the jar, screw the cap back on. Piece of wisdom I know in my head, but in my daily action, it's a concept I really struggle with. Another concept that I have a hard time with is understanding that there are paint and stainable items in my art studio. So even though I think I'm just going to use a little bit of a glue stick, couldn't get that on me, could I? I will invariably end up with paint somewhere on me if I set foot in my studio for any reason at all. Because sometimes I'll be using that glue stick and also just a little bit of paint here, and before I know it, I've got paint somewhere on me that I didn't intend to. So that nice white pressed shirt right before you're going out, but you just want to finish up a little something, yeah, you know where that went. Paint on the white shirt. And just so you know, another little bonus bit of wisdom here, paints like bright blues and bright greens show up very quickly on an all-white shirt. Next bit of wisdom for you involves glue. Glue is used to stick things together, and that means glue can be sticky. Apparently, this is something that I didn't fully understand when I'd start using things. Things like matte mediums, gel mediums, that if you get it on the lid because you've poured some of it out, because you've wiped your brush off near the edge, somehow, no matter how careful I am, there's always some that gets on the rim. And then when you go to open it next time, you can't get it open because it's now been sealed for the ages. Now, there's a solution, but you have to be willing to do it. Because apparently, based on my actions, it is something that is incredibly difficult, amazingly time-consuming. No, wait, it's none of those things. It's Vaseline. If you just run some Vaseline on a clean edge, then when you go to use it next time, it won't stick. But guess what? Every time I use these kinds of things, I say, I'll put the Vaseline on it next time or later, and I don't actually get to it. Now, for this very last piece of wisdom, I have no visuals that I can show up and hold to you, and you'll say thank you for that. Sometimes you might have heard that deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, very calming, very meditative, and those can be very helpful for your general peace and well-being. However, the art studio may not be the best place for that when using spray inks, especially if you like to get right down next to what you're doing and you hit that spray ink and you take a nice deep breath in through the nose. When you sneeze next time, what will happen is Mardi Gras can come out on that Kleenex. And if you've never seen the rainbow come out your nose, you've missed out on that experience. When using spray inks, don't inhale. Well, thank you. I hope you found these 5 very important bits of wisdom that I have learned in my art studio that I continue to strive to put into practice on a regular basis, because it would make my life so much simpler if I could remember these 5 things in my everyday practice. Well, thank you for joining me for these little bits and nuggets of wisdom that I've learned on this colorful journey. And if you've enjoyed this video, I would love it if you did something for me. Share it. Let other people know about it. And if you'd like to stop by my blog and say hello, you can find me over at acolorfuljourney.com, where I have all sorts of things going on over there, including my newsletter. There are some free downloadables and goodies for you, but all the details are over there. And of course, if you would like to see more of my videos, I'd love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being a part of this colorful journey.